Welcome back to Let's Play Darkest Dungeon. I'm your host, Timepants, and today we are headed out to the Weald. I have to admit, this is not probably going to be the optimal run in terms of, like, how do I want to put this? In terms of advancing our party towards the ultimate goal of clearing the game in 35 weeks. That's not great. But in terms of getting from the current to week like 30, I think this is great. The cudgel is a fantastic trinket for the Houndmaster. The Houndmaster, I think, is going to be a class that we are going to rely on quite a lot. That sucks. What do we do? Yeah, sure. Like, it's not an indication, not a positive indication, rather. It's definitely an indication. It's not a positive indication of the sort of chances of success that we're looking at here, where we're selling trinkets right before a run to pay for provisions. Yeah, I will admit that's not a good look. But this is what, like week 8, something like that. We're fine. I think as long as this is a successful run, and that's important. If this run is a total, like, catastrophic failure, they're sleeping. I'm kept from slumber by a distinct stream of whispers, as if carried by the currents and the waves of the sea. I've not told them that most of my flesh is sloughed off, revealing a strange silvery membrane. I keep myself covered. They questioned me when I ate the meat raw at Campfall, and found my response difficult to understand. I suppose it would be best to explain my condition when they awaken. Then they would be convinced of my urgency and find aid in the hamlet. Yeah, no, top of the notch, that's not an expression, top-notch healthcare to be found in the hamlet for sure. I really like their cutting-edge approach to medicine. The leeches especially, just really some of the best healthcare that money can buy. Actually, speaking of healthcare, this is probably very fine. Yeah, speaking of healthcare, when I was living in Japan, this is a while ago now. Like, I may have mentioned, well, if you're new to the series, I probably haven't mentioned this during the speedrun, so time to get caught up, I guess. This is a little bit of backstory. I used to teach English in Japan. I started out at one of those proprietary schools where you're basically a well-dressed clown, and worked my way all the way up to eventually being the head teacher at an international kindergarten, where I was a poorly paid clown. No, I actually liked my job very much, but it was teaching kindergarten, so there was plenty more challenges there than I'd expected. Like, at that point, I had, like, gone back to the U.S. and gotten a master's and teaching degree, like a teaching license and all of that. I studied to teach high school, so a little different, but I'm getting off track. So when I was in Japan, one of the things that was kind of an adjustment to me was their approach to healthcare. First off, it was very cheap. Like, one time I was having, like, constant throbbing pain in my head that, like, never went away, and I couldn't, like, focus or concentrate. I was getting, like, vertigo constantly. So I went to the doctor and I got, like, an MRI, and it was like $50. As an American, this is impossible. If you're not American, it's impossible for me to describe just precisely how incredible that is. I mean, that's a deal of a century right there. But some of the other kind of quirks of Japanese healthcare were similarly surprising, although perhaps considerably more distressing. most specifically that a lot of things are a cold. Like if you are sick and there's not like pus leaking out of every orifice in your body and you're not like vomiting blood like violently and like having seizures, you have a cold. And for somebody who's, I don't know, used to going to the doctor and they're like, well, we'll put you on a regimen of antibiotics, we're gonna monitor this and blah blah blah. There was a bit of an adjustment there, and maybe I never fully adjusted. I was probably a pretty big baby about it, to be honest. But the other thing is painkillers, and that is to say, there's not really sort of the idea of painkillers in Japan is they'll give you some what they have over there is called Loxonin. If you have ever been sick in Japan, I guarantee you've gotten Loxonin, and it's basically ibuprofen. I mean, if you got a headache, it's probably fine, but if you have like literally everything else, its effects are pretty uninspired. But I actually had an injury over there, and I had to get surgery, and it all started because I was like drunkenly racing up steps to catch the last train because the trains stop at like midnight 30 over there, and I like stubbed my toe on like one of the stairs going up because, like I said, I was a drunk buffoon. And I didn't think too much of it until like a few days later when it wasn't healing, and about a week later when it basically looked like a overcooked hot dog covered in Thousand Island dressing. So obviously this wasn't good. So I had to get surgery. They scheduled me to go to the hospital like shortly after Christmas, and like I went into the operating room and that's interesting. And like the thing is, like I said, their approach to painkillers wasn't so inspiring, but their hygiene, their cleanliness definitely inspired me. Like, how do I say this? Okay, so I had to change into these slippers to go into the operating room. They gave me a pair of slippers. I went through literally one room, and they gave me another pair of slippers to change into. So that was like the transitional pair of slippers before you put on the real pair that's actually like super clean, and then you go into the operating room. So like I was not at all worried about opportunistic infection, so that's good. When I got into the operating room, I mean, I was going to be conscious for the surgery. This wasn't like open heart surgery. They were cutting into probably, if anything can be called a vestigial appendage, I think your big toe probably counts. And okay, first off, like, the doctor didn't make exactly what I would call the best first impression, because like they had me change into like the OR gown, the gown where you wear it backwards. Well, I put the gown on, with the opening in the back, and I walked into the operating room, and like everybody started laughing. I was like, "What's the deal?" And they're like, "You have your gown on backwards." Okay, no, I do not. Like, come on. Have you ever, like, I guarantee, as a doctor, like, doctors in Japan have either studied abroad, like, usually in the US or Germany. You had to have watched, like, ER at least once and seen that, no, this is how they are worn in the US. Like, I might be wearing it backwards here, but you don't fake like I'm not wearing it right. Come on, you're just playing me for yucks in front of your buddies, and I don't appreciate that. Where was I going with this? Anyway, they're had me laid up on the operating table, and they're just like, put a shot of localized anesthetic in my toe, and they were like, "All right, we're gonna get to cutting. So you know, just say anything if you need more anesthetic." And they're like, "All right, cool." So they brought out the cutting scissors or scalpel. I wasn't watching, obviously, but they brought it out and they made the first incision. I was like, "Stop! Oh my God, stop! I need more." And they're like, "What?" I was like, "I need more more anesthetic." Like, "Okay, sure, whatever. Knock yourself out." Anesthetic joke. But yeah, they put another shot in. Like, okay. So sorry about that. You know, some people need a little bit more than others. Let's suspend the story time. My end as I scroll this. Victim of cruel fortune who took. Wait a minute. Okay. We've read this one before, right? Yeah. Okay, this is the one where he runs into Shambler. Yeah. All of his friends run away. He dies. It's pretty sad, pretty melancholy. Yeah, okay. I definitely remember this one, right? Like Moira, Shambler. Yes, okay. We've read this. So, where was I? Oh yeah, so okay, they give me like the second shot of anesthetic, and they're like, "All right, cool." So I'm like sitting there, or laying down on the operating table, and sorry, probably don't need to be staring at that the whole time. We can keep playing the game. And so they start cutting in, and like they make the first incision. I'm just like, "Stop! Oh my God, you are cutting into my living human flesh. Please, I need another." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Please, I need more anesthetic. Please shoot that into me as much as you possibly can." Like, I cannot. Yeah, this is unbearable. You are cutting me open, please. So at this point, I think I thoroughly outed myself as kind of a pussy, but like it's my flesh. So they broke down. I think by the end they gave me 4 shots, like in total, of anesthetic. And at this point, like the nurses are rolling their eyes, and it's just it's not exactly the moment that I exhibited perhaps my greatest level of masculinity or strength. Or wow, this is very short. You kind of deserve it. Yeah, definitely not my manliest moment by a long shot, but well, it's probably about par for the course if we're being honest. But yeah, it fucking sucked. It was really painful. By the end, he cut me all open and did some stitches, and he's like, "All right, ship shape, go get him." So you're gonna get some painkillers, and you can just go ahead and use these whenever you need. And yeah, just like there's a pharmacy here in the hospital. Just give them this, and they'll hook you up. And before the surgery, I was talking to this doctor, and I was like, "I know that painkillers aren't like super common here. Give me the good stuff, please." Well, yeah, he definitely gave me something stronger than the aforementioned Loxonin. And I got them, and I was just like, "These are really big. Like, am I supposed to, like, how are you supposed to swallow these?" And they were like, "Swallow them?" Oh God. Okay. "I am become vengeance. All cultists will feel my mace. Brigands fear my roar. I'm outnumbered, 'tis true, but I am starved and half mad. But as long as there's still breath in my body, I will press on. I will wreak unbearable agony on those who would seek to." Wait a minute. Okay. I read this one before too. Okay. Well, this is getting a bit tiresome. Okay. So yeah, they're like, "Swallow them." Oh no, they don't go in that hole. And I was just like, "What?" And they're like, "Don't worry, it has a diagram. I was like, what? I was like, yeah, no, there's instructions with your medicine. It's like, all right. I think I see where this is going, but now you've got me intrigued with the promise of a diagram here. So, let's find out. So I get home, and yeah, first thing on my mind, because like I had to limp to the bus station. Thing about not having a ride in Japan, because like I didn't have a driver's license at that point, and I never had a car, so I got to ride home on the bus after surgery. Get home, you know, dump out my my painkillers, and sure enough, there's a picture of a man squatting over and reaching back with one of these bad boys and shoving it straight up the old butthole. Very helpful illustration for those of us who didn't know just precisely where to insert our suppository. That's right. You can take your painkillers and shove them up your ass is not just the attitude that they have towards painkillers in Japan. It is actual medical advice. So that was a moment that I was truly humbled by just precisely how different, you know, ways of life outside of my own and that I had been used to in the United States really could be. So that's my story about sticking painkillers up my butt. So how's this run going? Really well. Like really well. Obviously some of the stress I could do without, but that was beautiful. That was really good. Okay, we have, I think, our first level 3 character. Maybe we have one other. Don't remember. But that was good. Like, I'm really proud of that. So, what's next? Gosh, I guess we spend all of this money. I mean, not on this crap, obviously, but... Well, that was good. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.